Welcome to the Marketing Lab, your go-to podcast for all marketing information. I'm your host, Tyler, and we'll cover different tips, tricks, and strategies to help level your marketing up, examine real-world case studies, and dissect all the marketing implications and how you can best use this information, and lastly, bring in industry professionals to share their knowledge along with entrepreneurs and discuss their marketing journeys in business. Now let's get our lab coats on and jump right in. Damn, I was so close to almost nailing that intro. Past few times I have not nailed it. Been bad. I'll get there eventually. But today we got a case study, Coinbase Super Bowl commercial. It's funny because I think this is about our second or third or fourth, I don't really know how many, commercial for Super Bowl. Obviously Super Bowl, you see some of the best advertising and commercials there, so that's why I guess they are always here, and that's why I keep covering them. But this was a rather good marketing commercial, that you can call it whatever you want, and what it is the Coinbase Super Bowl commercial. So if you're not familiar with it, we're going to go into a little bit of backstory and just the marketing implications around it and how they were able to create such a good marketing campaign. I'm not really sure exactly if it was successful or not. I feel like it might be. I didn't see their balance statement or signups or hear about any of that, so I think that would be good information to know if it did really do well. But what it was Coinbase running a Super Bowl commercial, and it was extremely simple and extremely basic, and they didn't even have any branding on it. It was literally just a QR code. The background color of the screen would change colors every time the QR code would hit one of the sides, and it was like the old-fashioned DVD player when it would just be bouncing around in the corners and everyone's just watching the DVD, wait for it to hit directly in the corner. And that's literally all it was for 30 seconds, was a QR code bouncing around the screen, the background color changing, and at the very last second it hits right in the corner and it finishes the commercial, and there's literally no branding on it. So obviously a lot of people are wondering, what the fuck I don't know why I tried to censor myself there, but what exactly is man, I'm still laughing at that. What a jokester. But what exactly is this commercial? Who is running this commercial? Because there's literally no branding on it. It's literally just a QR code. So I was extremely curious. The first 5-10 seconds I was like, okay, whatever. And then it just kept going and going, and I'm like, okay, I gotta know who's this commercial on, who's it for. So I got up, scanned the QR code, brought me to a landing page, and what the landing page was a sign up for the chance to win $2 million, I believe it was. And if I had to guess the target audience, I would say millennials and potentially the generation before, because it's a QR code. The QR code doesn't typically gel with the older generations. They don't really know what it is, how to use it, what it's for. So I would say it's around the millennial generation. In addition to that, because I think growing up, we experienced that DVD player bouncing around in the corners. I know the older generation definitely did, but I don't think they're as acclimated with the QR codes. And at the same time, I think Coinbase's audience is typically younger, and a lot of these young professionals where they're just getting into the market, even not even young professionals, just, I don't want to say it, I am part of this group, but young degenerates where you're just kind of gambling your money away on these stocks and crypto. And that was me for a little bit. And I think it's kind of funny. I saw memes before where you send in your tax returns to the IRS or whatever it is, and it's like 17,000 trades for a profit or a loss of $43 or something like that. I just find that very funny, because that's pretty much exactly how my stock journey and crypto journey really went, where it was nonstop trading and then all of a sudden losing money. So that's typically how it went. But that's, I think, the target audience, because you got the QR code, you got the DVD thing going back and forth, and everyone's just like intensely watching. And then at the same time, attention span. And they might be a little worried because it's 30, I believe it was 30 seconds of literally nothing, of just a QR code bouncing around the screen. Imagine how short people's attention spans are nowadays, where they can't even sit alone with their friends watching TV, and they can't even watch the TV. They have to be on their phones the whole time. So imagine this commercial comes on during the Super Bowl. So everyone's there watching the Super Bowl. You're in front of your target audience. I think they understood that too. And you literally have nothing. I think there was a little bit of background music, but you literally have nothing. Like, you're going to be losing a lot of people's attention because it's a QR code bouncing around. Like, why am I going to watch this? So I think that's one thing that I would have been really worried about, because you're not really promoting your company. Like, even if no one goes and scans it, no one actually knows what that company was, what that commercial was, what it was for. But at the same time, you might have that FOMO, fear of missing out, of you never actually knowing what it was. And if you did end up actually going and scanning the QR code, it did give you a good chance to win some money potentially. I don't know how many people won, but I think it was just, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I like I said, I didn't really jump up, but then I was like, okay, I have to know who is doing this. So it really grabbed my attention in that regards. And obviously I signed up. When I joined the page, I'm like, free $2 million. And at the same time, I believe I was with my dad, and he had no idea what I was doing or what was going on. He's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? So I think that plays into the target audience as well, where the older generation really doesn't really understand the QR codes, that whole aspect, that whole regard, where the younger generation really does understand the QR codes and all that goes into it, where you have to get up, you have to scan it. And I think Coinbase, like I said, their majority of the people on the platform, I'm assuming, is probably under 40 years old, where they have access to be able to go online, trade stocks extremely easily, extremely freely with all their money that they make, and they just can put it on all these different coins, and they don't have to consult something, where back in the day you used to have to go into a financial advisor or financial planner, and you have to actually do that. So a lot of people are doing that, and they think everyone's a professional trader, and they go, I know I did too. And I thought it was great at the time because it kept me up to date with a lot of the market and a lot of the industry. But like I was saying, my dad had no idea what was going on, what I was doing. And he asked me, like, what was that for? So I think it really played into them understanding the target audience and like what they were doing. And I think it really spoke to me as an individual. And I think that's who they ended up targeting. And I think they put it in front of a perfect audience as well, because it's during the Super Bowl. I'm assuming majority of the viewership is male, and I'm assuming a lot of the viewership is probably in that 30 to 40 range. I'm assuming it goes up a lot and it goes down a lot as well. So they are putting it in front of the right audience, the right target audience, and that's a big thing with marketing, with commercials, with campaigns, whatever it is, making sure that you're in front of the proper people and actually marketing towards them and not alienating someone else or going in front of other people, because you could have the best marketing campaign ever, but if you're in front of the wrong people or not your target audience, it's not going to perform well. And you might say, oh man, this marketing campaign sucks. It might not have been that. It just, you weren't in front of the right person. You weren't in front of the right audience. And I think that's a huge thing, is knowing your audience, understanding them, where they're going to be, and something that's going to draw their attention in. So even if you do have, say, the best marketing campaign out there, and it just comes down to knowing your audience. So what Coinbase did, they knew their audience, so they knew they were rather tech savvy, so they used the QR code, and it's extremely simple to be able to get someone to go to a landing page. Whereas if they made a landing page or a URL and said, go to coinbase.com/giveaway, not a lot of people are going to actually put that in. Compared to the QR code, I know there is a little bit of effort. that you might have to get out of your seat. You might have been able to go on your phone and be able to zoom in and then it'll pick it up. You might have been able to do that. I definitely didn't do that, but now that I'm thinking about it, you probably could have done that. So it's just understanding your audience and that they're actually going to be, you have a higher percent chance that people are actually going to go to your page with that QR code as opposed to putting that URL in there. So it's just understanding them and what's actually going to draw their attention in. And I think doing the little DVD thing where it's going side to side and then actually finishing where it does actually hit it right in the corner is very satisfying at the end, obviously, but it draws people's attention in. It's like, is it going to hit? Is it going to hit? Is it going to hit? And you're just watching it and you're drawn towards it. So at the same time, you might be making it too good where people don't actually end up scanning it and they just watch the whole time and they're like, is it going to hit? Is it going to hit? And they don't actually end up scanning it. They were just trying to focus on the QR code actually going directly in the corner. So it's just, so like I've been saying, is just knowing your audience, understanding your audience and where they're going to be. And like I was saying, the Super Bowl commercial, Super Bowl, you got your target audience right there. So if you are ever marketing, you got to make sure that, say, you're on Pinterest and you sell something that's really manly. I don't think a lot of men or manly men, I don't really know, I might be stereotyping right now, use Pinterest for this specific reason or go on there for that specific reason. From what I'm aware of, I'm pretty sure majority of Pinterest's audience is women. So if you're marketing on Pinterest, it's going to be tough to tap into this quote unquote manly target audience or target audience because they aren't on that platform. You could have the best marketing campaign, like I was saying, but if they aren't even on Pinterest, you have no paying customers. Let's say there's 5% paying customers. You're going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to tap into them and be able to get them to convert and be able to put your ads or whatever it is in front of them because there's such a small audience there. Whereas say they all hang out on Instagram. Whereas if you ran that same play on Instagram, your whole target audience is there, say 95% is there. You're able to speak directly to them. You're able to get right in front of them and you got a much bigger piece of that pie there. So it's knowing where your target audience is hanging out. If they're in social platforms or on specific, maybe you have radio stations, local radio stations, or maybe you have local TV stations, or maybe you're able to broadcast on YouTube, or it's just trying to figure out exactly where your target audience is and then trying to be in front of them. Because like I've been saying, you could have the best marketing campaign, but if you aren't in front of your target audience, it's going to be tough for that marketing campaign to perform well because you aren't speaking directly to them and you aren't in front of them. So I feel like this is just about all that I really have. I don't want to drag it on too long because then I feel like I'm wasting your time. So I think to sum it up with Coinbase is they knew their target audience, they knew where they were hanging out, and they had something that was going to draw their attention in and grab their attention. So when you are putting up with or creating marketing campaigns, those are a few things that you do really want to consider. And this, I can't see Coinbase's statistics on how many people signed up or how well it performed, but I'm assuming it did perform pretty well, judging by me signing up, and I'm assuming they got a lot of other people to sign up as well. So that's pretty much all I got here. I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to go in circles, which I tend to do. So thanks for tuning in to the Marketing Lab. If you got some value out of this episode, share it with your team, colleagues, friends, or anyone you think this will benefit. If you can leave a review and let us know how we did. We'll take any feedback so we can create the #1 marketing podcast out there and deliver the most value to you. If you'd like to apply to be on our show and share your expertise, head on over to newframedigital.com/the-marketing-lab, and at the bottom of the page, you'll find a form to fill out. Remember, every entrepreneur needs a lab, and this is yours. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.